A man charged with the murders of 3 people and later a Montgomery County man during a manhunt is to enter a plea today. Boone County authorities have a suspect in custody for a shooting last week.
And sunshine's back after a few days of storms. KRCG 13 Live at Noon starts right now.
Live from across mid-Missouri, this is KRCG 13 Live at Noon.
The murder case against a man charged with 5 murders enters a new phase this afternoon in Montgomery County. Good afternoon and welcome to KRCG 13 Live at Noon. I'm Dick Preston. The case against suspected mass murderer Pablo Serrano Vitorino is moving forward at the Montgomery County Courthouse. Prosecutors say the Mexican national killed 4 men in Kansas City, Kansas, then a mid-Missouri man before leading authorities on a manhunt in Montgomery County in March. KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt is standing by at the Montgomery County Courthouse. Meanwhile, Boone County deputies arrested a suspect in a shooting on Demerit Drive just outside the Columbia City limits. Last week, a 22-year-old man was treated at the hospital for a gunshot wound. Officials say the man's roommate, 32-year-old Kenneth Shively, was the suspect in that shooting. Shively was arrested Wednesday afternoon for second-degree assault, unlawful use of a weapon, possession of a defaced firearm, and drug charges. He's in the Boone County Jail on a more than $14,000 bond. A federal judge has blocked any further action by the state of Missouri against Planned Parenthood's Columbia facility. The ruling came down late Wednesday night. The state had attempted to revoke the clinic's abortion license, but court documents say political intimidation was a factor in that decision. Planned Parenthood officials say the ruling confirms that Senator Kurt Schaefer abused his power during his investigation. Schaefer has declined to comment. The ruling does not mean the health department will never be able to take away the clinic's license, but the agency must follow the same process used at other surgical centers.
And now, your KRCG 13 Weather Authority forecast.
Oh, we saw severe storms yesterday. Now it's quiet across mid-Missouri, working with sunshine. A little, though, on the windy side as those winds gust in from the northwest. See those flags waving in front of Jesse Hall. Highs there are going to be pretty nice. We'll make it into the mid-70s. Getting a little cool tonight, though, falling to the 60s by 9. And more storms are coming. I'll tell you when they'll be here, but now let's go to Dick.
Thank you, Zach. Brazil's Senate has voted to impeach President Dilma Rousseff. Rousseff is accused of using accounting tricks to hide large budget deficits. As a result of today's action, Rousseff will be suspended and replaced for up to 6 months by Brazil's vice president. That's pending a trial in the Senate. Thursday's vote capped a marathon session in the Senate that lasted more than 20 hours. The move to impeach drew violent demonstrations Tuesday with fires on roadways. Early this morning, police, claiming the protesters pelted them with marbles, deployed pepper spray against a dozen protesters near a security barrier, but most protests have been peaceful. Today's Senate impeachment vote was 55 to 22, significantly higher than the required 41 votes. Donald Trump offered a wave before heading into the Republican National Committee building this morning. The party's presumptive nominee sat down with House Speaker Paul Ryan and Republican National Committee Chair Reince Priebus. Afterward, Ryan and Trump issued a joint statement saying this was our first meeting, but it was a very positive step toward unification. Some protesters were on hand. Demonstrators included those opposed to Trump's plans to deport undocumented immigrants. Trump is also meeting with congressional Republicans today. A Missouri inmate was put to death in Bonne Terre last night. Earl Forrest had been convicted of killing 2 people over a drug deal in Dent County in 2002. He also killed a sheriff's deputy after she arrived at his home. 25 other men are still on death row. They all have appeals pending. The capital punishment issue is continuing to generate controversy in the state.
You know, we don't serve our state by being agents for death. And that's what we've been for all these years.
There's nothing glamorous about executions, we all know that, but the fact of it is, I do believe it deters people from making violent acts.
Earl Forrest became the 19th man to be executed in Missouri since November of 2013. Missouri House has rejected a proposal to legalize medical marijuana again. The legislation would have allowed doctors to recommend marijuana for patients suffering from debilitating illnesses such as AIDS or epilepsy. House lawmakers killed a similar measure in April after scaling it back to only cover hospice patients. The proposal would have gone on the August ballot if it had passed the legislature. Lawmakers have to end their session by 6 tomorrow night. Many residents in eastern Missouri are assessing damage today after strong thunderstorms hit the region. The storms began Wednesday night. They continued into Thursday morning. Winds of up to 60 miles an hour were reported. Large hail damaged several vehicles in St. Louis County, St. Charles County, I should say, some baseball size.
Sound like popcorn popping. Just bounces off the roof and coming right on down to the ground and hitting the cars.
So when you came out and checked out your car, what'd you find?
Hail damage on the car, windshield busted out, a lot of other people's back glasses busted out.
Storms left 31,000 St. Louis area customers without power for a time, and winds downed large trees. In southwest St. Louis, firefighters discovered a dog in a house that was heavily damaged by a fallen tree and led the dog to safety. For the first time since 2001, the St. Louis Blues will advance to the conference finals. The Blues secured their spot at the top of the Western Conference last night with a 6-1 victory over the Dallas Stars in Game 7. It was the Blues' 40th time in the playoffs. They're still searching for their first Stanley Cup, though. Their next step is to play the winner of tonight's game. That's between the Sharks and the Predators.
Game 1 comes on Sunday. Kermit Miller's going. I'm going to steal his tickets while he's at rehearsal.
There you go. A great Blues fan, Karen.
Yep, and I'll have a check of the weather coming up.
And a little later, cattle farming is still alive and well in some parts of mid-Missouri. We'll show you ahead on KRCG 13, live at noon.
Bargain brands. So you get more life per roll. Bounty, the long-lasting, quicker.
And now, your KRCG 13 Weather Authority forecast.
Well, I mentioned that we do get that quiet weather today, but it is going to be a little on the windy side. Those winds now coming from the northwest between about 10, 15 miles per hour. Some, though, as strong as about 20 to 25 at times. That's what we get through the rest of the afternoon, but these winds are going to die down once that sun does set. It's the sun that causes it to be on the windy side. A couple showers clipped our southeastern corner earlier. Now we just have a few clouds left over. These are on the eastern half of the viewing area, and low-level clouds at that. They're following that rain. We're going to have sunshine take over for the rest of the afternoon and clear skies for tonight. Temperature's nice, 60s, 70s across the board, hovering right around actually where we should be. Not quite at those upper 80s that we had yesterday. We're about 5 to 15 degrees colder for all of mid-Missouri. Weekend's going to be relatively cool, too. Temperatures in the 60s for both Saturday and Sunday. Going to be mostly sunny for both of those days as well. A little chilly in the morning time. Lows fall in the 40s. Here's what's happening across the region. Cold front moving through. It's close to the boot heel. That produces storms last night. High pressure's taking over. It's over the plains. That's going to give us those gusty winds from the northwest and also give us highs in the mid-70s. 75 is going to do it. A little breezy at times. We had that sunshine. Tonight's chilly, falling in the 40s, 49. 7-day forecast has those temperatures, mid-70s again tomorrow. Storms tomorrow night could be on the strong side. Weekend's dry, and more rain's back starting Monday.
That's all you're going to say about all that weather?
I mean, it can fit it in that, or it can go longer. You want me to talk longer?
No, that was good.
I can go longer.
Very compact.
Yeah.
Coming up, Howard's continuing to pull out recipes decade by decade.
Fasten your seatbelts as we take a quick trip back to the 1980s as our Throwback Week continues. Don't forget to bring your appetite.
You're watching KRCG 13 live at noon with Dick Preston and weather with Zach Evans. KRCG 13 live at noon.
What a week it's been as we take a look back over 50 years of food and fun. The 1980s were not as well defined as some of the previous decades, but they were anything but boring. Disco was fading out, but with the popularity of boomboxes came breakdancing. I'm still not sure if you can call that dancing. It was also a time that every little girl needed to have a Cabbage Patch doll. I wonder where all those ended up. And for boys, they were either glued to their video games or trying to figure out how to master the Rubik's Cube. When it came to fashion, it was a decade of up. Men were in style if they wore their collars up, and women needed to use lots of hairspray to keep their hair up. As for the food, quiche was very trendy. Yep, back then, even men ate quiche. And wine coolers were the drink of choice. Dining out was gaining popularity, and it wasn't just for special occasions anymore. One dish that seemed to be on every restaurant's menu was chicken francais. It's kind of funny. The name makes it sound fancy schmancy, but it's so easy to make. It's merely chicken breasts dipped in egg, sauteed until golden, and finished with butter, white wine, and lemon. Let me tell you, our chicken francais recipe, which is online now, is to die for and is still in style. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for a totally awesome way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Coming up, for some Gasconade County residents, there's no problem at all keeping them down on the farm. We'll explain when KRCG 13 live at noon continues.
Way for men to connect to their organic masculinity. Do you like a hairy chest on a man?
I prefer it on a woman.
With nearly 100,000 farms in Missouri, agriculture continues to be a major contributor to the state's economy, and cattle are among the top 5 commodities in the state. In her Down on the Farm in Mid-Missouri segment, KRCG 13's Elizabeth Hoffman takes us to an active and historic farm in Gasconade County.
Nestled away in a beautiful Gasconade County valley sits a cattle farm, but not just any farm.
That's pretty much our life.
Family owned and operated Gerloff Farms. When he was a young boy, Charlie Gerloff's dad introduced him to showing cattle at the county fair, and the rest is history.
I've been playing with these cattle the rest of my life. And
that play has turned into a way of life for Charlie, wife Rena, their 3 kids, and 7 grandkids. Established in 1906 by Charlie's grandparents, the now Century Farm raises and sells Angus and semi-Angus bulls.
Oh, we just keep a few. We don't keep too many.
Charlie has a lot of help on the farm.
Come here, Sadie. Come here, Sam. There you go.
Each day from start to finish, Sadie and Sam are by Charlie's side.
They're my buddies. Yep.
But his most prized helpers by far are his grandkids.
This is Charlie. This is one of the grandsons.
Rena plays a big part in keeping business running smoothly.
I do the bookwork for the farm. I try to pay the bills. And, oh, I mow grass. Yes, I do. He just said that earlier he didn't know how to do a weed eater.
She also makes the guys lunch.
And I usually try to fix dessert. Lance, he complains if he doesn't get some pie of some kind.
Lance is their oldest son and full-time employee.
I'm baling haylage today. We feed a lot of our cattle a high roughage diet.
He takes great pride in his job.
We stand behind all of our bulls, anything we sell.
Lance's son Dakota is a senior in high school. For the first time in his life, he'll soon live off the farm while he attends college.
And I plan on studying ag business there and hopefully come back home and start farming when I get done.
Everyone gets in on the business.
This is Lacey. She's my show heifer.
Olivia and Lacey will go to Grand Island, Nebraska for Junior Nationals this summer, along with county and state fairs.
I usually ride the bus home and then I come over here and wash not just her, but all the other show string.
A strong work ethic handed down from one generation to another.
God has blessed us in many ways, and I am so thankful to be able to be in this valley with all my family.
Life on the Gerloff farm is hard work, but to Charlie Gerloff, the work isn't really work at all.
About 10 years ago, I went to a class reunion, and these guys were retired and all that, and having great success stories. So I told them I'd been retired ever since I got out of high school. I was doing what I wanted to do, and that was farm.
In Gasconade County, Elizabeth Hoffman, KRCG 13.
You can find the information with this story on our website, krcgtv.com. Zach has a recap of our weather when the news continues, and check out an unusual site near the Reagan Presidential Library. That's still ahead on KRCG 13, live at noon.
Allergy? There weren't peanuts in the brownies, right? Peanut butter? Oh no, I forgot. What? She asked you. Call 911. So sorry.
Hey, okay.
Every 6 minutes, life-threatening food allergies send someone to the hospital.
Earlier this week, we showed you video of some goats that got loose during a civic celebration in Kentucky. Well, this unusual sight yesterday at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library included hundreds of Spanish goats, but on this occasion, they were doing just what the county fire department wanted them to do, help manage the area vegetation to lower the threat of wildfires. The goat program, organized and funded by the fire department, is part of an ongoing partnership with the Reagan Library.
So the goats went from Tennessee to, I'm assuming, California?
No. These are different goats.
Ah.
Those other goats are in captivity now, but they haven't been put to work.
Okay.
Some of these were lying down on the job.
What you about to say, put to sleep.
No.
Now let's look at that forecast for the rest of the day. Sunshine, storms back tomorrow, dry for the weekend, more storms next week.
And that's a look at your news and weather. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.